What is going on, everyone? Welcome to FSP episode number 124. And we're going to have some fun today talking all things gaming. We got some news, kind of not really news, regarding PlayStation working on a handheld that we're going to talk about. We already all knew Xbox was working on one, as well as even Phil Spencer himself has told us they are. So we'll kind of discuss some of that stuff. Switch 2 is coming around the corner. Um, I don't know how much news the PlayStation thing actually is because everybody already has been talking about the fact that they're already working on a handheld. But it came out via Bloomberg last night, and people have been really talking a lot about that today. So we'll have our thoughts on it. Plus, also more Game Awards talk. And Indiana Jones got another kind of deep dive-ish conversation over on the Xbox YouTube channel and Xbox Wire, and they gave some interesting information. So we're gonna discuss some of that as well. So, but thanks everybody for tuning in, and I hope you're all having an awesome day, a good start to the week. And to get started, Fuzzy's not here yet. He said he's going to be running a little bit behind, but we do have Jasper returning after a few weeks away. What's up, man? How you doing, Jasper?
Yo, it's going pretty good. Still kind of stuck with a hot spot, so I'm just playing single player stuff. I'm playing Detroit Become Human right now, and I'm on the last mission of Dragon Age, so that's kind of the two games I'm going through right now.
Right. Uh, did you liking Dragon Age?
It was the start of it was like started off really good, but it's kind of like slowed way down. Like I feel like.
Okay. It's funny now because like your internet situation, like you're asking certain, like you were in the DMs, like is Path of Exile 2
Yeah.
always online? It's like Jasper's getting desperate for that internet right now. It's still January though, right? When they're gonna be able to
Yeah.
set you up. Oh God, that's horrible, man. Like if
I'm
my
going home for
internet goes
Christmas,
out for a
so
couple hours,
I'm going home for Christmas, so I'm going to download Stalker and Indiana Jones.
for Christmas, you're gonna use it. All I want for Christmas, Mama, is your bandwidth. That's all I care about. I just need some bandwidth. Thanks. Appreciate it. How you doing, 3-bit? What's up, man?
Good, man. Haven't had a lot of time to game this week, been in work mode, but it's been a good week overall. I've seen your show earlier, Mav, with you and Fuzzy and Boom, just talking it up, and that was a good show. But I did game a little bit like last week. It was mostly me playing like Rock Band, just some random games like Rock Band.
Do you still have the instruments?
Yeah. I have the guitar at least. My drums got like wrecked over the years.
Okay.
So I was just playing on the guitar. I played a little bit of more Overcooked. Dude, that game is just so addicting. Like that's been my game lately. And then I'm on the last episode of Ace Attorney.
Oh,
For I guess it's a trilogy, I think. So I think maybe it's the
yeah.
first one.
So there's
Oh.
two trilogy collections on Xbox. There's the Ace Attorney trilogy, then there's the Phoenix. Then there's the Apollo Justice ones.
Whichever one was on Game Pass, because it I didn't even know it went
Yeah,
off
That was
Game
the
Pass.
collection.
Oh, was that the?
It was the Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright collection, I think, is what was
Yeah.
on there. And that's so my daughter has blazed past you, bro.
Dang.
She got through
That's
that
crazy.
whole collection, and then we had to get her the Apollo Justice one.
Dang. So
And
yeah,
she's almost done with that. Now she's like, she actually it's funny. She was like, we're started to ask, what do you want for Christmas and stuff? She was like, I want a PlayStation. And we're like, you want a PlayStation? Why? She's like, because there's an Ace Attorney game that's only on the PlayStation. I'm like, oh my gosh. So
Oh wow.
like I was like, looked it up. I was like, no, it's on Steam. It's on Steam. Or you can get a PS5 just for or
This is an Xbox family.
it's on Steam. Also, I found out it's like the ones she's talking about were like mobile ports to Steam.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's like it went to Steam and PlayStation at some point, but they're originally mobile.
Can you just like
Yeah,
give
it's
her
not.
your Steam Deck or whatever?
Oh, I sold that.
Oh yeah, that too.
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
thinking about selling my PS5 because I really don't use it. But yeah, it's not really a graphical game that pushes the envelope in any way. So I'm
Objection.
objection. I've been really enjoying Ace Attorney. My goal, because I've been trying to just beat a lot of games this year. So I beat RoboCop, I beat Starfield, and I beat the Starfield DLC. And I'm on the last episode of Ace Attorney. So now what I'm trying to do is beat once I beat Ace Attorney is to go up to the Yakuza games. So that'll be next. And then I guess Stalker, a little bit of Stalker in there because I did start Stalker and I really liked it. But I'm like, dang, there's just too many games. So maybe like Yakuza and Stalker at the same time. So we'll see. Yeah.
I've been digging Stalker 2 a lot. I like there's so many cool things about it. Like there's these random storms that will happen. You have to like run for shelter.
Yep.
But like I wasn't paying attention the first time it happened. I was like, oh, this is pretty. And I was just looking around taking like screenshots and stuff, and then I just died.
Yeah.
Right.
And then visible enemies too. They will
Yeah.
get you.
But yeah, this game is so good, man. I'm like pleasantly surprised by it. Have you played Stalker 2 much, Jasper?
No, because it's 150 gigs and I have a 100 gig download limit. So
It's so funny. You're like handicapped from playing games, dude.
It's so crazy.
Oh man. Well, eventually you'll get to it. You'll get to it.
yeah, I
Kate
mean,
says
I'll download
Overcooked was too
it
hard.
by that time. There'll be a patch, so it may be better.
Yeah, I'm with Kate. Like, Overcooked is kind of it's a little stressful.
It is stressful. Yeah. Like if you're not around the right people, you can easily get into an argument. Like because it's one of those games that are like the Monopoly type game where like the game that can ruin friendships because you're like, why aren't you cooking the beef? And
Well,
I'm trying.
See, this is like a problem for me because in our house, if we're playing Overcooked, it's like PTSD for any time I'm actually in the kitchen and she asks me for something. And I have to open up like 20 cabinets because I don't remember where the hell it is. And she's like, it's where it always is. You know, well, I like that doesn't help me. Like where it always is. Can you like be a little bit more descriptive? You know,
Yeah.
it's
Well, I would
next
hope
to
you keep the beef in the refrigerator,
and I'm like,
not the cabinet.
next
but...
to the what? The thing that I also don't know where it is? How am I supposed to know to look next to the thing that I also don't know where it is?
Kate said,
And then she will purposefully not tell me the answer just to watch me struggle so she can get more angry at me while I'm struggle. And it just prolongs both of our suffering. And allows her to get more angry while I look like an idiot for a while because I should know the answer to
that is why it's the game of the year.
Right. So why I don't want to play a video game that puts me in the same damn situation that we're at.
But what other game can do that? It's powerful.
Oh,
That's
man.
just powerful saying that. Yeah. It's good. It's definitely good. It's definitely it is challenging. Like, but what I find fun in it is like when you get into a rhythm when everyone is like knows what they're supposed to do. Like, okay, you're on this section of the map. Just make sure you're cooking and delivering, and then the other person's like, make sure you're cutting, and that's when it's really fun. It's not fun when no one knows what the heck they're doing. And everyone's just scrambling and things are catching on fire. And yeah. But I really enjoy it. It's really fun.
Yeah, my daughter also recently picked up playing The Sims.
Oh, Sims?
I'm sorry.
Is it the new one?
Well, there's like the new one, like that hasn't been a new one. Like so, Sims 4 came out 10 years ago. That's the new one.
But we watched it on Tidbits like last week. It was like this Sims.
Oh, that's
like,
whatever. A little Animal Crossing spinoff thing. Yeah. This is Sims 4, and we were looking through the expansions for it, and I was like, my God. I didn't really like Kate used to play The Sims all the time back in the day. Like she was really into Sims 3 and Sims 2. But Sims 4, I was looking through on the Xbox store, like, holy shit, dude. Like to buy everything for The Sims would be like $1,000. I'm not even like
Yeah.
joking. It's crazy how many
I think
expansions and
they
add-ons.
do have mod support like on Xbox for that, so you can download like community made assets. I'm pretty sure.
For it on Xbox too?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
she's been playing it on PC. So yeah, it's we'll see how that goes in her Sims journey.
I was a Sims 2 guy.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
got
was
into
pretty
it.
fun.
Yeah, Kate used
Yeah.
to ruin our
Yeah,
PCs back in the day with
I would just
with
trap all the people in the house and then put a bunch of shitty stoves and rugs down and watch them all burn and let the Grim Reaper come in.
Yeah, I would put them in the pool and then take away the ladder if they can't get up the
right.
pole.
It was just like a
Yeah,
room with
nothing,
nothing, like just four
yeah,
walls.
yeah. Watch them
Yeah.
slowly go insane.
Anyway, games are fun.
Yeah.
So we got a new in-depth look kind of at Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which now is the next big game coming out for Xbox in December. I think December 9th is its release date. And I got to hand it to Xbox again. They just keep marketing these games, doing great with deep dives and looks at all of them so far. I mean, they've done stuff for games next year. They've been doing games for all the games coming out soon the last several months, and a lot of really cool looks at them and stuff. So I kinda gonna go through to, um, some of this article and, it's just some of the stuff that we learned more about, Indiana Jones today, and kinda look through it and kinda comment on it a little bit. But um, there's also, there was an interview on Xbox Podcast where the developers sat down and they gave some information as well. So, this article is from Xbox Wire. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle bringing 80s movie magic to a 2024 game. It says Indiana Jones has a feeling. It's not just in the more tangible elements, the stories, the hero, or the music. It's also in the way it was filmed. The minutia of choreography and the tone, those ineffable qualities are what have made this series so beloved and so lasting. And that's a very difficult thing to recreate in video games. It presented Indiana Jones and the Great Circle developer Machine Games with an extra challenge. Not only did the team have to create a fantastic modern feeling game, but one that simultaneously captures the magic that swirls around the movies. It comes down to a question of balance, making a compelling game that still looks, feels, acts, and sounds like the movies it's drawing inspiration from. Speaking to developers across Machine Games, it's fascinating to hear how that was achieved, mixing modern game design with traditional filmmaking techniques, all in service of creating something that hits the sweet spot for Machine Games has been striving for. So the basically this article is kind of capturing like the stuff that they're doing differently,
Mhm.
with the way that they're trying to make this feel like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, right? So, and I think that comes through when you're watching the gameplay and the deep dives, which I'll have here playing in a second. It says perhaps one of the best examples of the deep thinking applied comes out of a single scene, one you might even describe as incidental. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark contains perhaps one of the cinema's best known jokes. A crowd parts and our hero's face with a menacing swordsman brandishing a scimitar. He chuckles darkly, passing his sword from hand to hand before twirling it with expert precision, a show of how tough this fight will be. Indy grimaces, pulls out his revolver, and drops him with a single shot. What we thought it was about to be a fight scene becomes a punchline. It's perfect. It's exactly kind of the scene that shouldn't work in a video game. This is effectively the intro to a boss battle. This guy should have multiple attack patterns, 3 different health bars, the works. As it turns out, that very scene may have started as the challenge the team faced, but it became part of the solution. Seen as a very good example of a type of humor that one can experience in the classic indie movies Priceless, says creative director Axel Torvenius. What we absolutely have been inspired from that and similar scenes is that very humor. To have varied, engaging, and rewarding combat encounters has been very important, but to make sure we spice them up with the indie humor has equally important. So we noted this before, guys. I don't know if you remember, but like when we saw the bigger gameplay deep dive and stuff, we touched on the humor
Yeah.
element from it and as being like a big part of it. And this was something also when they sat down to do the Xbox podcast, they talked about this specifically about even the animations of the characters, the way they react to things when you're in a fist fight or anything like that, all had that element of humor to it to recapture the stuff from the movies. And like it's those kind of things, the attention to detail on that that makes Machine Games the right developer to have made this game.
Yeah.
As a developer 3-bit that's worked on this some kind of stuff in animation and stuff before, do you understand kind of the nuance of that, I guess?
Yeah. Um, First off, like it's very hard to do first person like animation that feels impactful. Like you can animate something that looks great, but when a player is actually just feeling it, it's a whole
Mhm.
other thing. That's why so many studios have attempted to do first person stuff, and it takes a long time. It takes a lot of money and power. And what I've liked in the recent trailers for Indiana Jones is how they are embodying like the old films. Like they even have the exaggerated sound effects for when Indiana Jones punches somebody. It's like whoosh,
Yeah.
they have like the Wilhelm scream. And yeah, they're doing a really good job at like not only capturing what was in those movies, but making it feel like you're Indiana at the same time. In the beginning of that deep dive with this guy, they kind of talk about, because I only watched like the first 10 or so minutes.
Yeah.
They kind of talk about like the puzzles and moment to moment, how it goes from a puzzle section quickly to him having to run out the tomb, and how they mess with that flow throughout the game. Like what I liked about this deep dive, and everyone should check it out. It's spices of information we already know, but it also kind of goes into just like little tidbits of information where you're like, oh yeah, I like how you get to see how they're approaching this game from like a development standpoint, and as fans of the Indiana Jones franchise, like kudos to them. Like Machine Games, just if you guys have played their games before, they do a really good job at taking you into like a time period and making that world feel really lived in. Like if you played the Wolfenstein games, that's something I really connected with the Wolfenstein games, like just going in the past and making like ridiculous characters seem realistic just through the story, just the way they attack it. They've done a really good job in the past, and I kind of expected that DNA to flow really well with an Indiana Jones type games, because you still got the Nazis like you do in Wolfenstein. There's certain things that translates really well. Just seeing from the trailers I'm seeing with Indiana Jones from what they did with the Wolfenstein franchise. But yeah, from a development standpoint, there's a lot of stuff they have to tackle, like the first person mechanics. Like you can make something I don't know, look really good, but it won't feel good to like play in your hands. Like they have to battle with switching from the third person action to first person, and like how he's holding like his shirt and kind of punching him. Little stuff like that. Like you can make animation decisions based on um is making it feel a little bit better. Like if you were just to have Indiana Jones as punch everywhere, just constantly just punching enemies, and it's like a spam sort of move, you're not gonna feel like Indiana Jones. You're just gonna feel like a Spartan or something, just just able to punch everybody and win every battle. So from a gameplay perspective, they've tackled that. Like, hey, maybe you can grab someone's collar, or maybe you can introduce more stealth mechanics to kind of make it so the audience is encouraged to be more like Indiana Jones. In this moment, they're talking about like it almost hurt Indy to crush that idol, because he's like, oh, I really like this idol. It's a,
Mhm.
you know, I don't really want to crush it, but dang, I have to do it to solve this thing. Like they are capturing little moments in Indiana Jones, and I'm a really big fan of Indiana Jones. So it's cool to see when you get a fan of a franchise, you get something like this. You get little moments like that. Like this is not a reskin Uncharted clone Tomb Raider thing. This is their vision, their interpretation of the Indiana Jones franchise using their DNA as a studio. So really, really liking the direction overall. But I'll let someone else talk because I can talk about Indiana Jones all day.
Yeah. Um, yeah, good thoughts through, but shout out to Fuzzy. What's up, Fuzz? How you doing, man?
Oh, I just sorry about being late. Just got in.
Yeah, no worries.
Had to play taxi for the wife since her car is in the shop now. But man, glad to be here with you guys. Man, we got a lot of games coming before the end of this year, and some pretty cool ones. And I see you guys already talking about indies, so I'll let you guys continue, and you just let me know when you want me to chime in.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. We were kind of just looking at the this deep dive from Indiana Jones and talking about it, but we just got started, so no worries on that. Jasper, are you an indie fan?
Yeah, I kind of grew up. My dad showed me the Indiana Jones movies when I was a kid, so like they've always been like part of it. So I'm excited for the game, even though they won't get to play it for another like 20 days after it's out. But it's definitely been on my radar since E3. Like that's why I haven't really watched the deep dive stuff because like I've been sold on the game already. So it's like they don't really need to show me anything else.
Right. So one of the cool things too, like so what 3-Bit was talking about was the combat. Like they said most of the combat is gonna be hand-to-hand combat, right? Because it's Indiana Jones. They explained like the whip stuff and like how you can use it to like disarm enemies or you can smack them in the face and the different enemies will react differently depending on like kind of the enemy type. You can also whip the enemy and pull them towards you to get in kind of like more of a hand-to-hand combat situation as well. But the guy that played it, the host of the podcast here, he was mentioning that, it was more not just like brute force, like combat and stuff. Like it's about like having to even think when you're in hand to hand combat and stuff, which is like pretty
It's kind of
staying
like
true to the character.
It's kind of like the next level of like the Wolfenstein games where like there's certain aspects in the Wolfenstein games where like you have a mission where it's like all stealth and you're like, well, I can like throw a knife at this guy and like maybe like knock the chandelier down on this dude. Like it's just gonna be that, but across the entire game it feels like for the combat wise.
Right. Yeah, they definitely talked about like they're forcing you to have to use your head and think.
Yeah.
Which they also talked about with the puzzles in the game as well. Because there's lots of puzzles, and they mentioned that they haven't really done puzzles before in Machine Games too much, right? So they had to like really figure this out, like how not to have the puzzles be something like crazy challenging where people are going to get stuck, but make them to where it's still rewarding to accomplish.
And then Mav's like, hold my beer.
Yeah, you're right. Like, or somebody else do the damn puzzle for me. Probably is what we'll get to. The chat will help me figure it out. But like they have different kinds of puzzles too, because they're talking about like, okay, there's ones that are like super easy and simple. There's some that are more complex, and they talked about some that like kind of you're gonna have to go all over the place to solve. Like where you're gonna end up having to accumulate things to like try and figure out something by exploring and stuff like that. So that's adding another element. But the other big thing was talking about they go through linear areas and they goes to other areas where it opens up. But the biggest thing for me was they talked about how much stuff there is in this game that's not part of the main story. Because they said specifically, like, you could just play through the main story and miss like the majority of stuff to do, right? Like, which I think is probably what you're gonna do, Jasper. Um, like you run past enemies in Halo and stuff like that. All right, so but they were like saying like there's huge tombs and stuff that you could just completely
it's kind of like
ignore.
It's probably like how the old Dooms, like there was like a secret room, like you just had to go find like a secret key card and then like backtrack to the entire level and then open this door, like shit like that. I don't know. It seems cool.
Yeah. So there's like different. They said there's like smaller stuff to find, but there's like there's stuff all over the world. But then there's like
it will come back.
Oh, you're losing connection. No. Yeah. But then there's like huge tombs and stuff, so you can actually go through like
maybe
the whole game. We can hear it. We can hear you. Jasper can't hear us, but I think he's like buffering. But you can go through the whole game and like skip all of this shit if you want to, right? But that's the cool stuff. You know what I mean? The stuff that isn't part of the main game is like the stuff that I want to do. You know what I mean? Did you have a chance to check out any of this, Fuzzy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to check out some of it. Well, actually, the some of the stuff from the deep dive prior that I guess the influencers had to see or got to see as far as like the behind the scenes stuff. I only got to see a handful of the stuff from this particular deeper dive where it's more of the Xbox crew and or the studio crew and the one podcast guy. But the stuff that I saw as far as like kind of like what 3-Bit was talking about earlier, where he's the pause before he crashes or smashes the the item or the icon and stuff like that to get the puzzle piece out, and just more of the stuff that from everything, just the exploring or the amount of exploring that you're going to be able to do in this. And I guess that's going to be the biggest thing. Instead of it just being like, for me, I'm going to probably spend more time than is really necessary just looking to see if there's other clues or other shortcuts or things to find in other areas. And I think, well, at least it sounds like they've loaded up the game with enough of that stuff to kind of keep you occupied or keep you wanting to go that extra mile or go behind this tree or check what's around this corner in this cave kind of thing. But yeah, this I was already sold on this game as well. I'm glad that they have like the mix between the first and third person perspective. Would have loved the third person perspective more, I think, but that's the case for all games for me. But I get that, kind of like what we've talked about in the past, how it would just be, comparison nonstop between like Uncharted and Tomb Raider and stuff like that. But yeah, I honestly wish this would have made the cut for like a Game of the Year nomination. I know it would seem weird considering it's going to be out after the fact, but considering that there's a playable demo, some of the people that are able to nominate have gotten to see some of the behind the scenes stuff. So it would have been nice if they included it, but I guess maybe it gets its resurgence because of it coming to another platform in May of next year. Maybe it'll be fresher in the minds of the critics and stuff like that, I guess. But we'll see.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention, like, some of the I don't know how much they dove into this part, because I watched like 10 minutes of this talk, where at least in the last dev diary or talk or whatever, they talked about the upgrade system that Indiana Jones kind of has, which is just really cool. It's like another little old, when he loses his hat, kind of like when he goes underneath the door in the movies, and then he grabs his hat right before the door sort of closes. They made like an upgrade in a way where you get like a second chance, which was just a cool little feature. But I do wonder how much of that is in the game. It doesn't even have to be very extensive. It's just cool that they are catering the player a little bit to their play style while also it feeling like an Indiana Jones game at the same time. That's going to be tricky, but I'm sure they're thinking about it.
Yeah.
So is that like upgrade like a quick time event, like where he goes to grab his hat, like you, instead of hitting B, it's supposed to be A, so you get a second try to hit the A button?
I think like, so they have a couple upgrades. One is like easier. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. I think it was like quicker takedowns or something like that.
Yeah, one makes them like stronger for the fighting.
Yeah, right? And then the other one's like if your health is super low and someone takes you down, you get like a second chance, and then he grabs his hat, and then you can like try.
Yeah, you have to like crawl to the hat.
Yeah, you have to actually.
Yeah, you like crawl to the hat. It does that like dark screen thing where it's kind of like pulsing kind of slightly, and you crawl to the hat, you pick it up, and then it has the classic stand up, put the hat on,
he does the little off. Smirk.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. I wonder how many, like Wolfenstein had a lot of upgrades, especially the second one. So I'm guessing they're going that route where you can probably I'm sure they're not going to make you like a tank, but
Yeah.
they'll probably
You
have
get
like
glider
upgrades.
boots so you can sneak. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the stuff like that. I'm sure, like maybe your whip can do a little bit more stuff, or I don't know.
Whip extension.
Get a longer whip.
Yeah, you can grab stuff from further away or something. So that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, the upgrades are gonna be interesting with this because like they're not trying to make you like you said, they're not trying to make you a tank, you know. So like the upgrades are gonna be more like gameplay focused as instead of just like making you more able to just mow down enemies and stuff like that, right? So but yeah, they talked about the journal, and they talked about like going into the exploration stuff. They talked about the puzzles. They talked about, but the overall theme that just kind of permeated through all of this deep dive in the conversation is like, stay true to Indiana Jones. Stay true to Indiana Jones. Like, make this like you are Indiana Jones. Like, it just that came through strong, which again comes from the culture of that studio to their pedigree back when the same a lot of the same founders from Machine Games, the people that formed Machine Games came from Starbreeze, right? And they had done Riddick, which was like one of kind of it's a classic creation of a different story in a familiar IP, right? Where they did Escape from Butcher Bay, they told a brand new story for everybody, but it felt like Riddick, and again, that was first person as well. So they've just now to Machine Games doing this. They had done Wolfenstein, and now this is their other opportunity to do another IP again. But it just seems like these guys get it with being handed something that's beloved, right? And being asked to work on something to a fan base that is staying true to it, but still making it a great game. You know what I mean? So somehow these guys have been able to always accomplish that. And it seems like this is going to be the next step with that kind of game. So I'm really pumped for Indiana Jones. Like everything I keep seeing, like it's just pure indie, bro. Like even more so than the new movies, which actually is Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It's like this is like feels more like the classic era, with the like even the way they like we see in the screen, the way the enemies fall down and like this expressions on the faces and like just all this stuff. It's just like gives me that vibe. So I'm super pumped for it. Can't wait. And Game Pass day and date again. So another game that I'm already gonna have. I know they have what is 3 days early access if you
Yeah.
could do the $30 upgrade or whatever. Is it 30 on this one?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I think so. I was thinking about getting it, but I don't know.
I mean, I can wait a few days to play a single player game. You know what I mean? Like if it's like a game that gives me like battle passes and all that stuff, sometimes I'll consider doing it or like expansion content.
Yeah, but the FOMO's gonna hit you.
The FOMO is
Yeah.
what I'm afraid of. Like how hard this FOMO is gonna hit me. Because
I thought
I mean,
there was
I've been
an
waiting for this
expansion
game for a
thing
while.
to it, wasn't there?
I don't know. Is there an expansion? I thought there was just like clothes and shit or like outfits and stuff.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it was just the early access, and I don't think there was anything else. I don't know. Let me see.
Skins maybe like stuff. I don't know. Like, well, I mean, maybe there's like I think there's like different outfits you can have for indie, like from that are themed around the different movies.
No,
You know?
it has a DLC. Great
Does
Circle digital premium upgrade. Live the Adventure premium upgrade to receive 3-day early access. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. The Order of the Giants story DLC. A digital art book. Temple of Doom outfit and Indy's iconic look as seen in Temple of Doom. So you get the clothes, that DLC. So it's almost like what they did with like Starfield. So it is pretty cool with having that.
Yeah, now you might have sold me on it. Yeah, I like when they include like the expansions or DLC on it because like I don't have to make that purchase later down the road. Plus, I still got the early access. You know, hmm. Fuzzy, you're
Dang it,
marketing the
Fuzzy.
game with Vault the upgrade better than they have so far. Um,
Yeah.
I'm kind of sold on it. Like
yeah,
I I haven't watched the indie movie in a while, but I remember growing up. Like I think most of us in our pop probably watched those types of movies early on, and it was always cool just watching them. Now you get to play as them. I can't wait. So that upgrade, actually, it's showing it's $34.99, but I'm not sure if that's because I'm not logged in with the, you know, Game Pass discount and stuff. But yeah, I can't wait for this thing. I know FOMO would hit me even if I'm not finished playing. What do you call it, Stalker 2? I don't think I'm gonna be finished playing that for a while because I'm gonna be trying to find all the attachments and all the artifacts. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Stalker 2 is like my Starfield. Like it took me forever to beat Starfield. Like I'm just gonna jump in, play, experiment, walk around, not really follow the main missions, just kind of do my own thing. So it's gonna take me a while to beat Stalker.
yeah. And soccer's so good, so good.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I really like Stalker.
I see a lot of the conversations out there about Stalker, and I'm like, I don't really think people understood what kind of game it was.
Which
Yeah,
I
that's why
said
every
was
time
gonna happen.
that's every time we
We-
talk about it on the show, I'm like, this is a hard game. Don't go in
Mhm.
expecting this.
Yeah, I even said I was trying to warn people before this came out too. I was like, I said this on multiple shows. I'm like, I don't think you guys know what kind of game this is gonna be if you haven't played the first one, because the first Stalker game was brutal. It was a survival game, and if you don't like the survival games, you're probably not gonna like this one. And I think people just like, yeah, whatever. And then the game came out, they're like, this is a survival game. This is hard.
Yeah, that's
So
why I was hoping that like the Souls games with like Elden Ring and stuff, where like you don't really have a sense of direction, and its difficulty is there for a lot of the casuals. Like those games
yeah.
have become so popular over the years. I was hoping that would kind of spread to Stalker.
Mm.
It has like, so from my playthrough of it, they do improve upon like this like map direction compared to the first one and stuff. They improve upon
Yeah.
like your inventory system a bit. I think where the challenge comes through is they also at the same time don't hold your hand. Like monsters will pop up and you're just like, what the heck? I'm just getting attacked. And you have like you have no setup to that situation. Like you're just walking around and you're like, oh, what's this chest, whatever, and all of a sudden something's hitting you. You're like, what the heck? You turn around, there's like this invisible monster. That is pretty much Stalker though. And they have like, I think what I'm liking about it so far, about like 6 hours or so, the enemies, like the people that you can talk to, they can really like they do a good job of tying the world in, I think, because the people that are like in the game, they can like trick you, and they'll try to take advantage, take your stuff or whatever their intentions are. But it's like it kind of showcases how brutal the world is. Yeah, especially when you get into the towns and stuff like that. But it's not for everybody, just because it's not very handholdy. Like
Yeah.
if you are just kind of needing more handholding of like where to go, what to do, I don't think this is that game for you.
I mean, at
And
the
that's
same
not.
time, like a lot of the direction you can get, like if you listen to like some of the conversations or like find the books or random scraps of paper and read them, like it will kind of
Mhm.
point you in the direction. It's just you have to explore to find that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you might find a book that was like, here I hid my supplies
Yeah.
west or something like but if you don't pay attention to that, you just kind of skip over it, then it like rewards you for being invested in the world. But if you're just kind of like just glossing over it, you can still have a good time.
Yeah.
It's just definitely does
Yeah.
But
reward you for
but that's like something that I've noticed this generation more so than others, is that people are treating those kind of games like they should be stuff like I would say like Horizon Forbidden West. You know what I mean? Where it's like still open, but it's like
Mhm.
it's not really like all the branching things you could do and like discovery as much and things like that. It's just about kind of setting a path and you do that next objective and you keep go. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
these kind of games are more about choices. You know what I mean? Like Stalker 2 is about you doing what you want to do, going where you want to go, how you want to do it, and interacting with the environment and all those kind of things, and kind of putting you in this immersive world,
Yep.
right? And I'm noticing this gen is like people are. It seems like they're expecting games like Stalker 2 or Starfield, even or other things to be like those other kind of games,
Hmm.
right? And it's like when they're, hey, like I don't, and even when they do the reviews, you see the reviews on these things and stuff, and it's like,
Mhm.
because they'll talk about how long it took them to beat, and immediately when I see people saying that, oh, this is short, this is blah, 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 this is that. When they said like Shattered Space was like
Yeah, that was
three
crazy.
hours or
It took
whatever,
me
I'm
forever.
like you're not playing, you're not really actually playing and experiencing everything.
Yeah.
You're just going through and going down this narrow path and missing what the game is about,
Yeah,
right? The
there's a
game
ton
is
of side missions and like
like
Shattered Space too. That was crazy.
100%. Like these kind of games aren't about just like I'm just gonna start the story and go and just do story mission, and plow through to the end, and then judge it only based on that. Because like these games are about everything else that you can do and go everywhere you can go and explore and find and creating your own adventure and story within it. But it's like people, a lot of people. I'm not gonna say all gamers because like there's people that like these kind of games and they're people that understand what a game like Stalker is are appreciating Stalker,
Yeah.
right? But it's like people that are like just judging it based on graphics or judging it based on like the
And I think
dialogue,
that's another thing that
you know?
that kind of hurt it. Like, is I think with the Xbox being behind it, a lot of people have kind of assumed it was like a big, like AAA game, like next blockbuster. But in
Mhm.
reality, it's always been a AA indie game. Like, it's just,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I,
We talked about that
but
last
since
night.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
so
since
like,
Xbox had the marketing, it's like people went in assuming that it's a bigger thing than it was.
yeah, but like, and then when it's not what people expect, then who gets the blame?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Xbox every single time for some reason. It doesn't matter like if it's a third party game or a second party, like help fund it, or if like they're just marketing with it, have a Game Pass deal. If a game doesn't meet somebody else's idea of what they thought it was going to be, it's Xbox's fault, which
Yeah.
is crazy to me.
I went in with the expectation of this would be like a mix of Escape from Tarkov single player and
Yeah.
Metro, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Like the one thing I will say, there's at least two outcomes for every decision you're prompted with. So every side mission, every main mission has at least two outcomes at a minimum,
Mhm.
and sometimes they will overlap because of a person you interacted with just randomly in the world, whether you help them or you let them double cross you or whatever the case may be. And then that might affect a decision or an outcome on another one. So I'm hearing that there's four endings. I don't expect that I will get all four endings, but I there are some things where I'm trying to play the survivalist type of approach. I'm not being the good guy. I'm not being the bad guy. I'm just trying to survive what I
Yeah.
figure will be in my best interest. But I do sometimes do a quick save and then try like being the asshole. And a lot of times it works out better in your favor
Yeah. In
because you'll either
Stalker,
get a better weapon or you will eliminate a person that's going to be a problem for you later when it comes to either going into a certain section or something like that. But that there's just so much more to that game, and I understand it has a few bugs, which other than like a visual glitch in certain regions on certain walls kind of thing, I had a carrying a body issue where I picked him up, carried him a few feet, and then he was floating separate from me. I mean, I could still move to my left and they would move to the left, but they were like off my shoulder by like 5 feet or something like that. And then I think I had a not a save bug, but like a menu bug where I went to do some upgrades on some weapons. Luckily, I got in the habit of saving before any interactions or before I go and open a door or something like that.
Yeah, that's just Stalker. You got to learn to save like every 5 minutes.
Before you save.
Yeah, like it's like the little bit of jank that comes with the expectation like of a game like this that I think like people lost the just when you have a crazy ambitious game that's doing all these different things, especially from like a smaller studio or something like that as well. It's like they're gonna have some weird shit that happens, or like man, some shadows dancing here and there. You might have some things that don't look as good in a certain area and all this other kind of stuff. But like overall, the world that they create makes you want to live in it and keep coming back to it. And those choices too, man. Like choices are crazy. Like, oh, you mean I can either kill this guy or help him? How like that's the decision I have to make right now. But what are my ramifications of that? You don't know, until you do it. So it's kind of like
meet this dude's faction. He's like, oh, have you seen whatever this dude's name is? Yeah, I shot him.
Yeah, exactly. No, I have never heard of him before.
Wow.
What are you talking about? He's missing. Weird.
I'm looking for the guy that killed my brother. He probably has his sniper rifle with this awesome scope.
It's like,
hey, you have a sniper rifle, don't you?
No. Let me take the scope off of this gun.
Yeah.
Oh, see, mine doesn't have a scope.
Couldn't be me.
I think the media needs to stop punishing games for not being like the same as like these other games, like not being the third person action adventure. Like I'm sure we're gonna see some reviews for Indiana Jones, like it's not like Uncharted and things like that. I think I think games and their studios, they should make the game they really want to make, because if we just get a sea of games that are all the same, like that'll be such a boring world to live in. So like, the Stalker franchise, I had a feeling people wouldn't really know what it was, because it's not a Metro game. And
it hasn't been around in a while either, too. So.
That too. So I guess the first one, it started to have some popularity here and there, but not. It wasn't like huge. Like Metro is way bigger than Stalker.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. So. It has survival mechanics. It has things that I feel like makes a Stalker game, and that and to me, what a Stalker game is, it's like the atmosphere, having those choices and decisions, and little jank here and there, but still really fun. And I feel like what they do with all the mechanics and stuff that they put in the game, when it all comes together, makes it like, I don't know, it's great. I really dig it. But
I feel like a lot of gamers these days, or a lot of the media, just wants to be guided through a story experience, right? Play through the story experience, guided through it, and that's what they judge everything on. And like a lot of games don't fit that mold, and that's what I was talking about, the playtime too, because when you see like these reviews come out, or like people talking about the games or criticizing them or saying this and that about the content and how long it took them to beat, or like if it's or complaining about certain aspects that aren't really even important to the kind of game that it is, right? That's when I'm like, they don't understand what this kind of game is about. Like, and those aren't the people that people should really listen to when judging this specific kind of game. Because if we took the criticism that people have over Stalker, like besides the bugs, like obviously, nobody wants bugs, so it's gonna have some jank, and hopefully they can work on them and fix some of the stuff. But if they took a criticism that we hear a lot about, like the difficulty, or like different aspects like that, it's like then you're just transforming it into one of those other games. And I would hate that, you know? It was like when people complained that Starfield is like we're saying, you don't I wish they would use a different engine or do this other stuff or there'd be less bugs if you couldn't hoard toasters, and put them in your spaceship or like nobody needs to do that. Or it's like nobody even cares. But it's like that's what makes those things are what makes those games unique, right? And more identifiable about what makes it what it is. And if we lose that stuff in all these games that are different and have the original ideas and then man, shit would be so bland,
Yeah.
And I don't want gaming to be bland like that. I love these different kinds of experiences, and sometimes with that comes the jank. Sometimes with that comes these other things because they're doing stuff differently that makes it a little bit more challenging to design and figure that out. It's more simplistic if you just take people on a guided path towards the end, and then you can build everything around that and just try and make it all polished, all that stuff. But when you have mechanics on top of mechanics on top of mechanics, that's choices are affecting what happens with other characters and the dialogue that pops up. And if you take something from over there, what's it going to affect? Like, there's a million things that are happening in these games that other games don't have to worry about. That's a lot more interesting for me and makes them feel lived. So I'm loving it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not.
I know for
Oh,
like
I'm
the
sorry, go
older
ahead.
stalkers, at least, like the storms were like. I was gonna say for at least the older stalkers, I know like the storms are like kind of randomly generated, so they would just like come in at random times. I'm assuming it's still this way for the new one, but like that's another mechanic that you just don't get in a lot of games, is where like a random storm can just come in, and now you have to fucking find shelter instead of doing your mission or going. You have to like
Yeah.
actually look for something to like take cover. It's like you just don't get that in any other game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love stuff like that because it's like you may have a plan, but that plan probably it may work, it may not.
I mean, yeah.
So that's what I'm digging about Stalker, and yeah, I've seen reviews on like it does remind me of the Shattered Space conversation. Like I beat this DLC in like 4 hours. That took me a bit. It took me like at least 2 something weeks to beat it, and that's because there's a ton of side missions in the DLC for Shattered Space. So just to say someone I beat it in like 6 hours or something, that in itself I could tell like you aren't experiencing the game and the way they were meant to be experienced. Like there's you could breeze through the main missions and stuff like that, but there's like a ton of side missions that do coincide with main missions. Speaking specifically of Shattered Space, but I do feel like it kind of encompasses this Stalker 2 conversation, because it's just the way that some people are talking about games or just kind of enjoying games. It's just meant to be this guided experience, or even it is reflected in how they vote too a lot of the times with the game awards and things like that, with like which games are usually presented and which games aren't. And yeah, I mean, I hope we get more games like this. I always encourage developers who are trying something different. It's why I really like Hideo Kojima, because he's kind of crazy with a lot of his stories. But what I like about it is he tries things that are like that are just different, because he wants to make something different. And not a lot of developers are doing that nowadays. They're chasing trends. We've seen a lot of developers chase trends, like let me make like Concord, let me make another hero shooter type game, and so it's almost like a breath of fresh air sometimes when we get a game where the studio has a passion for what they want to make. They're not catering to another game or another genre. Like, this is the type of game we want to make, and some things people may click with, some things they may not, but that's why you can quickly get fans of that, because you're just trying something that someone else isn't doing.
Yeah, it's so dynamic.
A lot of games, you can tell like which games have passion behind their like dev teams. Like Baldur's Gate, like they put a lot of time into that. And same with Stalker. Like there's just those games that like you can instantly almost identify as like, this team actually cares about their fucking product, instead of just like just pump shit out like Ubisoft.
The weird thing is though, with like a game like Baldur's Gate, right, is like because I love it too. I think it's an amazing game, but it also has bugs and it also had performance issues, right? Um, which people keep bringing up with Stalker as like such a horrible thing, but people gave it a pass because of the ambition of Baldur's Gate that and all these other kind of things, right? Um, but it's the picking and choosing, right? That
Hmm.
a lot of people decide to do and give a pass for some developers and not for others. Where I was completely pleased with how Baldur's Gate came out, right? I think there's some issues with how it released, but there's also some issues with how Stalker 2 released. But I'm also for this studio and the situation and everything that they've done and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, actually, really haven't had anything that's like, wow, this really is ruining my experience with this game. Like, I've had some crashes is like my main thing. But that's, I mean, I have that with random games too, and there's probably a PC thing. You know what I mean? But overall, it's been damn good experience, like
Yeah.
through and through. So
One thing I'm kind of curious about is like much like you guys were saying as far as like studios innovating and stuff, but yet it seems like the critics want every game to be more samey. I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but there's a different approach you can do in the beginning to give yourself a fantastic starting gear set or a fantastic start with the gear and whatnot by just doing something a little bit different than what you would normally do in a game and stuff like that props up at other points in the game as well. And I'm surprised that some of the reviewers aren't noticing things like that. Like um, one of your first missions where you have a pretty good kit to start off with, you're not going to always have that kit if you go and just speed run or do it like follow the main story path. But if you try to do something a little different, you give yourself a much better starting position, and you'll find that in other aspects and things. Or
yeah,
sometimes double crossing the guy that looks like he's on the up and up and he's your friend or whatever, and you double cross him. Yeah, he might put a hit on your head, but you wind up with better stuff later on, or better stuff right at the get-go.
It's like prison rules that you always punch the biggest guy the second you walk.
Yeah.
uh,
But I'm loving this game just for the fact that it's the closest thing I could think of how I wish the Dark Zone was for the Division, but if it was a single player game. And it has aliens or mutants or whatever in it as well. But just the fact that you can go on a mission, you can help somebody, or you can have like eventually you'll have companions or guides or whatever. To help you through certain areas, or some things you can have somebody give you a hand locating something or whatever, and you could go back, bring it back to them, and get your standard payout, or sometimes give it to the guy that said, oh, don't give it to that guy, and see what you wind up getting. And it's just so many different choices. Like I love the fact that there's a lot of meaningful decisions you'll have to make that will affect the outcome. Like a lot of games these days, and I'm not knocking on Dragon Age. I know that some of the decisions you make in that are impactful, but in at least a lot of EA games like Mass Effect, the more recent one, like Andromeda, some of the decisions you or choices you made didn't really affect things. And same thing with what was that? I was about to say Armageddon. Anthem, that some of the decisions in that one didn't really affect your outcome as well. And there's a lot more games where you have an A and B choice, and no matter what you pick, you're pretty much going to have the same outcome to some extent. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm done with reviewers. I each and every time it seems like they become less and less valid. At least most of them. Like ACG is still probably the more one of the more mainstream ones that I'll still listen to, even though on some stuff I'll disagree on after playing it as far as his view. But it's more things are in sync. I haven't seen if what's his name that used to be a big Division guy and then crapped all over Division Skill Up. I don't know if he's done one yet for Stalker. I'm curious to see what his take is on it as well. But yeah, it's an awesome game. If it will, I'll put it to you this way: I can't stand Souls likes, but I love this, even though I'm dying probably just as many times. I think part of it is that I get to keep my gear at the last save kind of deal. So it's not like a complete restart and having to go back and pick up my gear and get my butt kicked again to go pick up my gear again type of deal. So I think that might be the key difference there.
And I love like thinking like, oh, I wonder if there's something over there. You know what I mean? And then you go over there and like, oh yeah, there's a little hidden thing. You go and smash it and there's some ammo. And it's like a game making me excited to find ammo. You know what I mean? It's like a success in and of itself with game design that like I actually felt rewarded just for picking up some damn ammunition and going out of my way to try and find some. You know what I mean? Like, it's really cool. And also like other element that I love about this game, just walking around, even if you're just like walking around an open field, right? There is a inherent element in this game where you are always in danger. You have to watch where you step. You have to watch if there's a fucking running meatball that's gonna come bite your ass, or a blind dog, or an invisible guy that's just gonna show up out of nowhere, or you might accidentally step on this electric shit all over the ground, or accidentally walk into a bubble that's floating in the air that might pop you. Or hey, there's this little leaves flying around on the ground right there. You might accidentally step on those and they might fling your ass 20 yards away. Like you never like you're constantly I've fallen off so much shit in this game already, like on the ground and killed myself that way. I've accidentally backed into bubbles and done that. I've stepped on the electric shit. You know, like I've blown myself up with a grenade. I like there's so many different ways that you can accidentally die in this game. But it's not just like when you're approaching an enemy or approaching something. It's just like I was walking through a field and I just fucking died out of nowhere. And so you always have to like be aware of your surroundings constantly. So that adds this element of like, even if you're just walking from point A to point B, you're constantly engaged with what's happening. Right?
Yeah.
So you can't let down your guard.
You're not just like, oh, point A, point B. Let me just run there straight line. Then
I'm there willy nilly. I'm making it. That's fine. Let's just get there as fast as possible. Oh shit, I died. Yeah, like
have you guys come across booby traps yet?
Yes, I went up a windmill and I accidentally blew myself up 3 times. 3 times.
Yeah, there was a bomb in the middle of like a field.
Yeah,
it got me.
Oh, plus you're also while you're also having to be cautious of where you're going, you're constantly being poisoned by radiation every single second. And man, this guy is fucking hungry, dude. I tell you, like I understand you're in a situation and you're walking around in the wilderness and you're trying to survive and stuff. But why are you always so fucking hungry? I tell you, I eat so much bread and sausage. It's crazy, dude.
The upgrade system, which I'm still understanding, but like from my understanding, you can put things in like a slot, like the like they have different slots at the bottom. They could give you abilities like let's just make up one, like you can sprint longer or something, but it has a negative effect as well, where they're like at some random point your radiation levels will spike and you never will know when. So it's like, yeah, you can sprint longer, but some of the power-ups have like negative effects, which I was like,
you're talking about the artifacts?
Yeah, the artifacts.
If it's in red, it's going to hurt you. If it's in green, you're good. You just got to get enough of the ones in green to cancel out the ones in red, and you'll be.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like I was so scared of using those in the first few Stalker games, I just never used them.
It will hurt you. Like I think I have one where it's like radiation based, where it's good for some things, like you can find more items or whatever, but then like your radiation can go up randomly.
Just drink more vodka. You'll be good.
Yeah, just eat sausage and drink vodka. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
Oh man, like there was this one point I was in one of the main starting town area, and like they had this huge tower. So I was walking up the tower, It was like it's like a multi-level tower. It's super high, and just to see what's up there. Of course, it's like one box of bullets, and that's it. Like I get to the top, and the fucking storm happens.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah, I'm like, oh shit. Then I'm like, slide down the ladder, slide down the ladder, try to get the cover.
mm,
Yeah,
Oh man,
that's where it's like when Fuzzy was kind of talking about like choice driven stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's not just choice driven in the dialogue. It's like choice driven in like the world itself. Like
Yeah.
different options that you have to do within the world, which makes it more like dynamic, I guess.
Mhm.
Like if there's a storm or you see like a field over there, that I go over there, or should I take this route? Like you are making the decisions where, which I find is really cool.
Oh, and I love like there's random gunfights between the different factions and stuff.
Oh yeah,
And you'll
yeah,
like
it's fun.
you'll like walk up to them, hey guys, how's it going? You're like, hey, you're friendly because you have a
Yeah.
green dot on you, so I know not to shoot at you. I'll put my gun away so you don't get pissed off. But there's bullets. Where's the bullets coming from? Oh, there's guys
They're
running
like,
at us right now, and then I hear all this gunfire going. It's crazy stuff. Amazing game. Love it. So much stuff can happen in this game. Razor NZ says repairing gear costs an arm and a leg. That's one thing. I haven't found the repair guy yet. I just keep throwing my fucking trash guns on the ground and replacing them because like I've gotten a lot of the same guns so far.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
I have no idea.
You have to find. I think they're called technicians. They'll look like a little green wrench.
Yeah.
There is one guy in the starter town.
I didn't know
but
where
one of the
was.
weapons I found he couldn't repair. It kind of reminds me of part of like some of the stuff in Escape from Tarkov, where certain vendors will only work with certain gear. So if it's what you would consider NATO or US base, they're not going to be able to touch it, kind of thing. So you might have to find a different repair guy for it. But the best thing to do is get duplicates of the weapons, use it until it's I think you can use it until it's yellow and they'll still take it.
Yeah.
If you use it until it's red, it's useless to sell it at that point. But yeah. Oh, and the fastest way to make money is kind of like bounties or stealing stuff, but you got to be careful on that, or finding artifacts and selling those, because those have, I think, the highest value. But don't get too attached to the gear just yet. It's the later gear that you find, and some of that stuff. Like I got one piece of gear that I had to cut myself up to get to, and I'm glad I did. But man, I don't know what it's going to cost me to repair it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, I couldn't find where he was, or I didn't really know. Dang, you guys are making me want to play Stalker again.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
I know the best thing about it is I know it's just going to keep getting better as I get more stuff, like it's kind of, but it's like the rewarding aspect of it. Like they don't just hand this shit out to you like candy.
You gotta earn it.
You gotta earn the stuff. You gotta work for it. You gotta find it, like, shout out to Lotus Esprit. Very generous. Choo motherfuckers, Lotus Esprit hitting us with 5 Fun Speculation memberships. Appreciate the support. Lotus, you're always amazing here in the chat, hanging out, and congratulations to the speculators that were just awarded a Lotus Esprit membership.
Choo choo! Ha 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 ha!
I can't wait to kill that guy.
Yeah. When we start
so much
playing
Push him right off that ship.
I can't wait to see that scene. And it's gonna hit differently when I actually play it.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. I can't wait till that scene comes up during the stream when I'm playing the game.
Yeah. I hope it's like near the first stream.
Oh man, amazing. So hey, let's move on from Stalker. I didn't even mean to have a big ass Stalker 2 conversation. It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Yeah.
It's
on the brain.
Yeah, I mean, we're it seems like Jasper's talking about his history with Stalker, like the franchise, but like seems like we're all really big. So, chat, if you're struggling with it, that's cool. But I recommend looking at the game for what it is, not what some of the people out there thought it would. You know what I mean? And maybe you can enjoy it. All right, so we got this news last night. I was doing a Mavcast and talking and chilling and hanging out and
Mhm.
acting all cool and shooting some people out. No, sorry. I realized it started to sound like that. So, um, and then at the end, like this Bloomberg report came out, right, about PlayStation is in the early prototype phases of working on a handheld to compete with Switch 2 and Xbox's upcoming handheld. Although we'll see, it's early and it may never happen. Is basically what the Bloomberg report said, which is kind of like the same thing that we already all knew that like, hey, PlayStation is also working on a handheld, supposedly. Has been rumors for a while. So this kind of confirmed that they are dabbling around with it and thoughts about making a native PS5 based handheld device. We know Xbox is working on numerous prototypes and trying to think of different kinds of devices to create with hardware going forward. The Switch 2 is coming around the corner as well. So, interesting. PlayStation 5 based native handheld, maybe a few years out as well. Are we looking at a 2027 time period where Xbox and PlayStation both launch handheld devices that are gonna go toe to toe with each other? Be kind of interesting. The Xbox has never been in that realm, but PlayStation has before. But I also want to know, would anybody here be interested in buying?
Hmm.
It all depends. Like for me, PlayStation's got to lean more into the PC space a bit more. Um, if their device can play PS5 games and some of their games that are on Steam as well, but games in general that are on Steam since they have uh, some of their stuff on that store, it would be worthwhile to me. But if it's only a PS5 and it's portable, there is some value, but they're going to probably charge more than what I'd be willing to pay. Like a portable PS5 to me today, a standard portable PS5 would be only worth about $400, and I know they're going to want 5 to 6 for it. Because I would figure it should be somewhere in like the slim price range. But being portable, they figure that's going to be a $100 to $150 upcharge at a minimum. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's definitely, I think, a better step than what the PS Portal was, because that thing never really interested me unless it was like sub 200. And I think they wanted almost 400 for that thing, and it was just a streaming device. So, or maybe it was 300, 299 or something when it came out. But for a streaming device, when my phone can do the same thing, and I already own my phone, and I already own the Razer Kishi or whatever,
Yeah.
it just wasn't appealing. But a portable PS5, make it $400 or less. Yeah, I'm sold. If it plays the games I already own digitally native, the PS Portal doing that PS Plus streaming, cool. Should have been at launch as opposed to an update. It would have been nice if they put an SSD in there in the portal, so you could download maybe older PS4 games or games that are under 50 gigabytes or whatever kind of thing. But yeah, we'll see. I'm more so looking forward to the Xbox one, because at least with Xbox, you get dual entitlement for their first party, and they already have a lot of third party partnerships that you get the dual entitlement. So a device that can play all of that stuff, both the console games you already own or the Microsoft store, Windows Store games as well, I'm sold. And if it adds Steam access, even better, icing on the cake.
Yeah, I'm wondering also like how like central licensing works with like third party publishers for owned content on like, okay, so because there's the consoles now, so if they have like a PS5 portable that comes out, or if Xbox does like a native handheld, right?
Mhm.
Do they have to like at that point Like, are they allowed to with the publishing deals they have with third party with the third party publishers because they're like launch on but specified systems, right? Because I'll be considered
Maybe if
a
it's the
new
same family of
system,
consoles,
Yeah.
then it's okay.
right? Yeah, so they could call it like a Series S X handy.
Like it's a part of
I,
the series consoles, so technically.
right, the PS5. Like I don't know how that works, right? Because like I'm just curious on that. Like PlayStation gets around it with the PS Portal because it's just console streaming,
Right.
right? So that's not an issue there at all. On the Xbox and stuff now, you have like the ROG Allies and stuff like that, but it's just those are handheld PCs. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So it's an interesting thought to think about how that would work. If they have to like redo stuff with deals on publishers, all these other kind of things. I don't know.
I
I
think
have a feeling that they'll probably have to either do the redo on the contracts, or, and this is why I'm hoping if they do go ARM or Snapdragon or whatever,
Mm.
if they do it where the device can emulate the console stuff on its device, since it is technically an Xbox and it's doing emulation at that point of games you already own as a console and it's in console mode, I think that's still within legal ease for for those third parties for it to be acceptable. So at least you would have on that handheld PC, Xbox, portable device, let's just say, you would still have access to your Xbox console stuff, but it would just be called an Xbox portable that has access to the Windows Store, possibly Steam, and all of your existing digital library that you own on your Xbox console. So
That's
that's
kind of the reason why I don't give a shit about PlayStation making this thing, is because like my PC, this is a PlayStation. Just like Xbox, this is an Xbox. It's like
Right, they're putting
at
the
a certain
games on
point, they're
PC
yeah.
anyway, right? Well, it'd be better to get like for a handheld, even on Xbox, if just get like a ROG Ally or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I would love a native Xbox handheld,
Mhm.
but it would need to be part of the family, right? Of Series S and X, but I would also want to be able to dock it because I would want to use it as like a replacement for the Series S that I could just pick up and take
Yeah.
to bed if I want to.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how I would use it. Um,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna compete with the Switch. Because part of the reason I think they both may be interested in it because the Switch 2 is also going to be like more capable, right? Uh, how many games are still being made for last generation? I mean, even Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is still on a VCR, Xbox, and PS4,
Right.
right? So, like, the Switch 2 is going to be more than capable of running these games. And you talk about all the third-party games that were kind of ass on a Switch 2, they ain't going to be as ass. So like all these games that have all these ongoing seasons, battle pass monetization, all this stuff that people are playing, now all of a sudden you have this super popular device, and like maybe Xbox and PlayStation want to make sure that they are competitive in the mobile gamer console crowd against the Switch against those kind of gamers too. It could be as much about third party stuff as it is about first party, right?
Yeah. And AJH brings up, he says like no one's going to buy off the Xbox app when they can buy on Steam unless they really don't want to care about game sales anymore, truly just care about Game Pass. I think whenever you start to get into these other markets, like starting to compete with the Switch a little bit with the handheld, or get into the PC mind space, yeah, you're gonna run into the Switch's numbers, right, with the handheld, and then you're gonna run into the Steam with the with the PC side of things, and it really
Yeah, I
just
mean, even the second biggest PC store, Epic, they still struggle to compete with Steam, but they tried fucking buying their
yeah.
way in with like buying exclusives and stuff.
Yeah. So they just have to appeal to people just differently, where it's still a part of their ecosystem. Like you can play handheld if you want, that's an option, but still make it like like the consoles and stuff like that. There's a couple of reasons why I think they're never gonna, at least for the foreseeable future, they still have consoles as their basis, and then they build from there, just due to their current model. But we're talking about Xbox specifically. But with PlayStation, this recent news, I don't know how far along this stuff is, or whether this is like a response to what they've been hearing about Xbox. Because I don't know. I don't think this was in their current plans. I'm not behind the scenes, but we'll see what they end up doing. I think like Matt, what you're saying, like with licensing sort of things, like this is like why Portal was like kind of an easy thing for them to do, is you're just streaming another device and you're not worrying about licensing issues and stuff. I think what Microsoft has been doing, and don't quote me on this, but I think over time they just been putting in like their contracts with developers, like kind of like stipulations, or kind of preparing, like if we want to put this game on PC or anything like that, sort of making those deals early, so when they are doing the next console, they don't have to negotiate again, kind of like what they were doing with the backwards compatibility stuff. Like they had to go in a library of just asking people like, hey, can we backwards compatibility, like can we add it to your game, can we add it to your game? And they ran out of developers that were willing to do it, because those developers wanted to essentially remaster their game at some point, or they're just being protective of their IP. But Xbox kind of just ran out, and that's why the program kind of ended. I think what they've been doing is, now that they are opening up their ecosystem, that they know they're going to have different devices that are Xbox centric, that games just going forward, just add like a little thing, like you get like 30, we get 30% revenue, or 20, or however we want to do it. You get the rest. Also, if we want to put this game on other platforms, will you allow us to do that, like early upfront? So that way, they don't have to go back to the drawing board. I have a feeling they've been doing that, but don't quote me on that. But I have a feeling that's what I would do. But yeah, we'll see.
Andrew Colonnane says, sorry, not Andrew, Antonio Newman says it probably wouldn't be a good idea to call it the Handy. You guys don't like my name, Xbox Handy?
I think Xbox Handy. Someone said Zenith earlier, so it's interesting.
Come on, Xbox Handy.
Xbox Series Handy.
I still say Xbox Series Go, but that's they've kind of used that nomenclature for like their what do you call it, Surface stuff. So
the Go.
You call it the Xbox 720. Everyone's buying that bitch.
I thought that would be the next name, honestly, but
Xbox 7. Yeah,
I remember that.
Xbox Handy. It gives pleasure.
Don't go into marketing, man.
Don't go into marketing. Don't do it. You could make some really cool ads.
I can with the Handy.
You can have one like you can have somebody using the Handy in a movie theater. You can use
all the ads you can do.
Why am I being arrested in the movie theater? You're getting a Handy, or you have an Xbox Handy. What? What's going on? What kind of movie theater is this?
Nate Dogg says Series PP. The Series Zune. I missed the Zune. The Zune was nice.
Everything is a Handy.
You said Xbox is anything.
Use a Handy on the plane.
We'll see.
Man.
Are you bored?
With the series name?
Look, I got a Handy on a plane. I got a Handy on a train.
Next to my plane. Are you bored? Like a Handy? have a Handy.
Like inside. It's like, what did I walk into? What if
Handy? Let's go.
I can imagine them having that meeting.
You get it.
No, I can imagine the marketing meeting, and then legal team comes in, and it's like, about that handy.
Gonna need to change that.
Love the commercial. Got to remove the handy. Wait, what?
Hey. Well, our sales increased by 30%. Oh, never mind.
We've had an explosion of handies sales.
It's very handy.
Oh man.
So versatile. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the handheld market.
Oh yeah, I was like, I forgot what we were talking about.
Did we hit the bong before we're live? No.
It feels like it. Yeah, Sony doing handheld. We'll see what it ends up like looking like and everything.
What would they call it? What would the PlayStation call it?
Series Go. I kind of agree with Fuzzy.
The PlayStation would call it the Series
No,
Go.
no.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Xbox.
Maybe 3-bit is high.
Well, the Sony, they usually have like weird names for their stuff, like the Portal and the Vita and PSP and whatnot. So it's just gonna be some random name.
Like, I mean, they could call it the PS5P.
Yeah, that'd be weird. I guess it's better than Pisser, what they have now. So their names are just interesting. Maybe it'll be like PS Exodus or something. PP. Like something. Just PP. I have a feeling it'll be like PlayStation, just like a code name sort of thing, like PS Exodus, or I don't know. We'll see.
No, they'll go the Apple route. It'll be the PS5 Max or something odd and nonsensical.
PS5 sort of title. Fuzzy.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to have PS5 somewhere in the name if it's going to be PS5 based or something to that effect. But Sony being Sony, I expect them to copy the Apple tradition. So it'll either be Pro, Max, or Plus or something.
Yeah,
because I remember iPhones used to have a Plus edition. They used to have, well, they still have the Pro. I don't know if they still do the Max because I haven't bought an iPhone in God knows how long. But yeah,
they do like sometimes simple naming conventions. So
I'll just call it Little PS5.
Little PS5.
Little PS5.
Little pisser.
Yeah, little pisser.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to watch, man. It's gonna be fun. If 2027 could be crazy because we also could get next gen hardware as far as consoles. You get multiple handheld devices. Switch 2 will be out by then as well. So who knows what that's going to be like. And yeah, it's going to be fun covering all that stuff over the next couple of years. For sure.
It'll be Christmas for gamers, or just a lot of scalpers trying to beat people to the punch. That would be about the only thing I could see being a problem.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because like it'll basically be the ecosystem wars / handheld wars if this rumor is true, because we know Xbox is going the handheld route. We know that Nintendo is most likely going the handheld route. So that means the big three of consoles are switching to a handheld device. So there's going to be a lot of comparisons, I'm sure, of which one is the most beneficial. And it's going to be very interesting to play GTA 6 on the go.
Yeah, would being in the military now, Jasper, would you be interested in like a PlayStation Portable?
No, because I don't have a fucking PlayStation.
Would you be interested in a handy?
I mean, who's offering?
Xbox. Anyway, all right. I just had it. All right, so moving on. Oh geez, I don't remember what I was talking Let's see, what else was there? Yeah, there was tidbits. That's what we have.
Oh,
We have
yeah.
Tidbits.
It's
Tidbits.
a shorter one, I think, because of the holidays. I was actually expecting a lot more, like up until Thursday, but apparently,
Yeah.
just there's like 2 games. The third one didn't even really give a release date, so I don't even know if it's actually going to release Thursday or not.
Right on. Let's see here. I'm trying to bring it up. Everybody, we have one more segment here on Fun Speculation Podcast, and it's called Tidbits.
Mhm.
And here we go. All right, everybody, this is Tidbits, the segment where we look ahead at the games releasing for the week. And at this point, I might as well go ahead and say, presented by Fuzzy Belvedere. I appreciate the help every week getting this together, Fuzz. And I'm even behind trying to get my shit together now. That did everything for me, but it's here. Here we go. There we go. Tidbits. Here we go. Did it.
All right, this first one is Snow Bros Wonderland, coming to PS4, PS5, and Switch this Thursday for $29.99.
Shame I'm missing this.
You might be able to download this one though, Jasper.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, this is kind of cool. What did you say this was on, Fuzz?
Just PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch.
Oh, I remember what I wanted to talk about. Shit.
Prince Green said, "My ears."
We'll have another short little segment here after Tidbits.
Sorry, Prince.
All right, this next one is 30 Birds. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to only be in French, but it is by a French development studio. It's coming out this Thursday for $29.99, only on PC.
Only on PC.
Yeah.
$30 Birds. I don't know what the heck that was, but
I think you have to find. It's almost like a Where's Waldo for birds, I think. So it is kind of a puzzler.
cool.
And then this one,
My dear friend,
it looks like it's coming to PC, Xbox, and PS5, but
the previous ones
only
did
PC, I
find
think,
right
has a
in
release date
Amazon
for
on
like
board
this
the
Friday.
iPhone, a
PS5 and
revolutionary
Xbox
invention
don't
of mine.
show like a true release date or that you can pre-order
This
it.
first prototype had
It's
several
Amerizone,
imperfections.
The Explorer's
Mechanics,
Legacy.
craft fails,
It looks like
And
what Edith
Bishop
Finch.
Island.
Looks very similar.
Yeah. Now this is, I believe, like a remaster. I think the original game was like
Sense that
Yeah,
late
you can tell.
I have
90s.
only had one thing on my mind:
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, right? Yes,
make right the wrong I have done.
It's like
Great game.
what is
Take the egg
Myth
back
or
over there
Myth?
to the
What the fuck
Amazon.
it was?
Kind of like a myth and puzzle. Well, the myth puzzle type stuff, and then there's some mystery stuff or artifact things that you have to find
I
too.
have
You mean
developed a
Myst?
new hydroflow
Myst,
that
yeah.
is specially designed for an expedition into the heart of
Yeah, I was
the
trying to think of like what is myth?
I have carried out all the necessary checks and calculations and corrected all the
Graphics are great too.
Yeah, it looks. Oh, underwater now, like a James Bond shit. Here, oh, change this up.
Very pretty game. Nate Dogg says looks like indie. Kind
I
of does.
need your help. Time is running out.
That was actually my first thought, honestly.
Safe travels, my friend.
It's a point-and-click adventure game.
Signed, Professor Alexandre Valenbois.
Alexander Valenbois. Amazon.
Cool. Might have to check that out.
Now it's coming to console, but like I said, it didn't match up that November release date or window.
Right.
Hmm.
Is that
And
it?
that's it. It's short week.
Wow, light
So
week.
I was hoping there would be a turkey eating game or like Thanksgiving simulator type of game, which
Yeah.
somebody needs to do. Like have it where you make all the fixings and you only have about a certain amount of time to eat, or figure out what to do with the leftovers.
That's we're all going to be having that real life sim here in the next couple days.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
I remember what I wanted to talk about, bro.
What's up?
I wanted to get some ideas of what you guys think could be shown at the Game Awards.
Like surprises.
Like surprises, yeah. And the reason I was thinking about it, and Ninja Squirrel had reminded me, but with this text, any behind the curtain news on the Marvel and Transformers Tony Hawk games coming through Game Pass Ultimate, speaking code, enter 24 for this year. Come on, guys, let us know. I have no clue other than there's been the rumors swirling around that stuff, but
Yeah,
It's been rumors for a fucking year and a half.
Yeah. But they just redid the Steam databases for a lot of the games and stuff. So there's some people that are thinking that we might get some Transformers stuff, but it's not like I have no clue. Now we were talking about a game the other day. Was it with you, Fuzz? Were we talking about this? Possibly ZeniMax Online
oh yeah.
game.
That I'm hoping it's like a multiplayer version of Starfield. Even if it's not a licensed IP, it could be Star Wars related or something, and that would be even better, I guess. But even if it's just the Starfield basic world, or the same universe as Starfield, and it's just now that it's like co-op or multiplayer where you can have your own fleet. You pick your faction from get-go and you go to war with other factions type of thing. Basically a Star Citizen, but for console kind of deal. That I think would be a mic drop moment. I'm hoping whatever Bethesda Online is working on, outside of like part of the team doing like Fallout 76 stuff, I can't wait to see whatever it is. But they've been working on it for at least 4 to 6 years now. Yeah,
those are the ZeniMax team, and then there's the Bethesda team. So like the ZeniMax one is the one that does Elder Scrolls Online.
Okay.
And then Bethesda, they do the Fallout 76, right?
Okay.
So the ZeniMax Online team is the one that their next big project's the biggest game they've ever done. Is going to be crazy and stuff, and they've been working at it for years, and we've been waiting for that one to be announced a couple of years now. It seems like, I mean, there was a lot of smoke that we might get that at the summer showcase, right? But for some reason we didn't. And that makes me think maybe possibly that we could get that at the Game Awards, because if I recall, the devs from that studio were saying this year was going to be a huge year for them.
Yeah.
And we haven't had the news or announcement yet. We had an expansion for Elder Scrolls Online, but we get that every year. So I don't know why that would make this year any different, other than the fact that they had something huge to announce, which has yet to happen. So what do you think about this, 3-Bit? Do you think we're going to get to see ZeniMax Online's big new game at the Game Awards?
I don't know.
Poker face.
I don't know. I hope so. We have been hearing some stuff about it, but I think honestly we'll see something from Bethesda. That I know they held some stuff back from that summer showcase, which is ridiculous, because like what they showed in that the last big showcase they had was like already insane. So this could be a good moment to showcase some cool stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for the Game Awards in general. Um,
Yeah.
like I think what could be there, I do hope they do more Game Pass announcements, like what Ninja Squirrel or someone was saying, like seeing Tony Hawk and uh, I want to see like the Tony Hawk games going Game Pass, the Transformer games, dealing with all the licensing issues I know that they've had to deal with, but at the same time, they did at one point say all the Call of Duties would drop into Game Pass. So maybe it'll just be a rollout Call of Duty games and Game Pass. That could be a cool announcement. But yeah, there's a lot of games we don't know about. We've heard about the ESO game for a while. I've heard some things. We'll see what ends up being true. And also like the Wu-Tang game, no one knows what the heck is going on with that, for example. Like this could be a good stage for that, because only like the podcasters, the people who listen to our shows know about like games like that, but the wide public, they don't know what the heck that they don't know Xbox is working on a Wu-Tang game. So yeah, a lot of cool things Xbox could show here. They could show more Contraband here, maybe like a playthrough of like maybe like 5 minutes of footage, like world premiere type situation for Contraband. Could be awesome. Blade could be interesting. I think that might be a little bit further
I don't
out.
think he's yeah. I don't think
Yeah,
you see Blade
that's
again because that was last year.
yeah, Blade. Yeah,
That's what gives me like a little credibility to the like ZeniMax Online thing or whatever. Is like just because we know Bethesda isn't afraid to show off some of their farther along projects at the Game Awards, but also I think one of the bigger announcements, not necessarily a game, but could be the Switch 2 reveal.
Oh, we could. Yeah, you're talking about the actual Switch 2 is being shown at the keynote.
Yeah, I guess this could be a good year to show it. When was it rumored to come out? Was it like 2026?
Well, everyone just assumed like early 25, just because the Switch came out early in the year.
Yeah, I think they said it's gonna be like late spring, early summer,
but they
something like that.
but they pushed it back, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe April, May, something like that. I forget exactly when it was kind of leaked or like heavy rumors or whatever that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
And to Wacko Games, he says like Contraband, Radio Silent worries me. Not a peep from any developer. There's a couple games like from Microsoft, like a lot of people don't know about Everwild. Someone else mentioned that. But I do remember at the same time, like people was complaining, like saying, like, "Oh, Fable's in trouble," and I'm like, it's fine. So we'll see. Like, let these teams work. Let these teams, do what they do, and they'll show it when they're ready. Like, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, there's a lot that it's possible GTA could end up being at the Game Awards, which would be crazy. They don't need to. They could do their own thing, but like Keighley would be like giddy to have that show up there. PlayStation could end up having like Wolverine finally make an appearance. You could have that. Wasn't there a Venom spinoff to Spider-Man that was supposed to come out?
Yeah,
that was either supposed to be a spinoff or DLC, but I don't know.
I thought it was like a 1.5 Miles Morales like expansion.
Yeah.
I know that like Keighley doesn't necessarily get the biggest games or whatever from like the biggest publishers. So like maybe like Hogwarts Legacy 2, like early tease.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people in chat are mentioning some good stuff too. Like Jez said, Everwild found its dev group a while ago. I'll believe it when I see it. They've been on that Sea of Thieves run for a while. But yeah, I want to see what the heck Everwild is, because they didn't. I don't even know they knew what it was for a minute. But Forza, you guys think we'll see anything Forza?
Maybe Forza Horizon? No, fine.
Yeah, I'm
You think
I'm
it's too
thinking
early?
it's a year early for it, but it wouldn't surprise me because they like that they've shown Forza at it before. So, well, they didn't specifically show it, but it was like Forza Horizon 5 when they first showed the Series X. Some of the scenery was from Forza
See, I just get
Horizon.
the idea that Xbox for the Game Awards, they want to show you stuff that's not really too well known. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Or
Like, that's
I
why I
think
don't think you get.
This is why I
That's why you
think the
don't get like
Wu-Tang game could
Avowed
be
or
here.
Fable and stuff. Like,
well
Yeah.
they
you get
they
that
showed
stuff that
Hellblade 2 at the Game Awards. They showed Perfect Dark at the Game Awards, and they showed Blade at the Game Awards, right? I think
Yeah, but
Blade
that
was
was
a
all
big
like, well,
announcement.
except Hellblade. Yeah, Blade was an unknown thing. That's what I'm saying. Like Perfect Dark, that was the first time you got to see gameplay or whatever. So
Mhm.
like, it's kind of like it's still unknown. And then like fucking Hellblade, that's because it was coming out and everyone's been bitching about that. But
Xbox is Xbox's position with the Game Awards is always interesting because like Sony is probably not going to have a huge presence here. Like they've been skipping out on a lot of things lately. But Xbox tends to,
oh,
I
you
mean,
get a
they
fucking
announced the
Last of Us
Series X.
Part 2 remastered remake
Oh
again.
my gosh. You better not. But we know like Xbox, I mean, they revealed the console here. So they can go big. And they just happen to have like a ton of IP to do it. It's just a matter of, I guess, timing. And they did pull some stuff out of the last show. So
Mhm.
this could be a good
Yeah.
time to do so.
So
maybe.
y'all remember like the early rumblings about the length of the summer Xbox summer show was like 3 hours, like some crazy shit, and then they got it
Mhm.
kept bringing it down and down and down until we still end up getting like the biggest, craziest summer game show we've ever gotten from Xbox. But what did they leave out? And that's why I keep going back to the ZeniMax Online thing because I was
Okay,
sure that we were going to see that
we're
then.
also
But go ahead, Jasper.
we're leaving out Activision Blizzard.
Right, which they would
StarCraft,
normally show up at something like this.
yeah,
Yeah.
StarCraft tease, like a new StarCraft being made.
Mhm.
That would fucking blow the fucking roof off that place.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
It would. Yeah, absolutely. Um, anything StarCraft or like you could have a new IP from the new IP that Infinity Ward's working on show up. You could
Mhm.
have some other you could probably have some kind of Call of Duty trailer content or something, or like there's tons of different things that could happen. You could have Warcraft stuff, World of Warcraft stuff show up. But yeah, StarCraft announcement would be huge. But yeah, this
Because
is
that's
somewhere you
also
would
like
normally
it gets
see
the
that kind
wider
of.
gamers. Yeah, you get the
But
wider
that's
gamers. You just don't get Xbox.
But that's why I also think the ZeniMax Online thing could be shown here because it'll probably be a multi-platform game launch because it's like an MMO,
Yeah,
right? So it would make sense to announce an MMO by Xbox at the Game Awards
Mhm.
because you're trying to reach PlayStation gamers, you're trying to reach anywhere where this game's going to exist, right? And a lot of PlayStation audience may not tune into an Xbox show. So that if there were to pull something from the Xbox show for the Keeleys, it would make sense for it to be that specifically, especially if a game is
Yeah.
driven based on like not just sales, but you need like this to survive and live. You know what I mean? So, and I think they could be further along on it than you're thinking, Jasper, because when they had the ZeniMax Bethesda roundtable after the acquisition, that was one of the projects that they already were excited about that they talked about at that point, and that was back in, like, what, 2021 or 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a
Or
minute.
2021, I think.
Yeah.
And, last year what they said, that this was gonna be a huge year for that studio, so I don't know, they were really excited about this year. We didn't get the announcement yet, so I don't know. Maybe this could be it at the Game Awards, but there's a million possibilities out there. Who knows what there could be?
I could now that we're talking about it, I could definitely see Sony being here with a Spider-Man thing or
Something God
a
of War
Wolverine.
related. What about
Probably
that rumored God of War trilogy?
Oh, the remaster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
might show up here.
That would
What-
be exciting for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
Did I've heard different rumors about that game. The latest rumor I heard about God of War is that they were remastering or doing something with the original trilogy, but they're putting it in like a mobile format.
I don't know
That's
if
what-
it's
that's what
mobile or
I-
not. That would be weird considering, well, one, they closed their mobile studio, and two, they still don't really have a mobile presence. But I mean, that would
So
be a
is
good way to launch your
PSVR
mobile
capable?
presence. So.
Yeah, they did shut down their mobile studio, so I don't know how true that rumor was, but I just thought that was interesting if that was true. Like,
Well, one thing I can see being at this Game Awards, and I thought it was going to be at Tokyo's game show, but you know, his best bud Kojima, since they've already shown, you know, Death Stranding 2. I don't know if it's gotten a release window yet or not. Maybe it's time to see another snippet of OD or get like a release
Yeah.
window for OD. I think
I
that
don't think we see
stands a
anything
good
on that
chance.
until Death Stranding 2 comes out, to be honest.
you think he just focused the attention on Stranding?
Yeah, I think he's
or
just right now is just focused on Death Stranding 2.
I don't know. It's weird because with Xbox getting Death Stranding or the first one or the director's cut, I get the sense that he's grown his studios enough to be able to simultaneously work on 3 titles. Like there's still that secret military espionage title that he's working on for PlayStation. Death Stranding 2 is already in the works and probably not too far from completion. I would have thought, considering how long ago the deal was with Stadia, that, you know, OD could or should be further along. But I think it's a smaller game initially, and then they do episodic stuff later with the different directors that he'll partner with. So I think OD is close to ready. Like I think they still are able to show it, even though Death Stranding 2 hasn't released or they haven't shown all the, you know, marketing you know, leading up to it kind of thing.
Oh,
Like,
see,
I
I don't
get
think
this-
Overdose is coming out till fucking next gen, to be honest.
I hope it comes out a little bit sooner than that, but I could see that being the case as well, because they are using, was it the not photogrammetry, what is that, the human something,
Oh, yeah. MetaHuman.
the Unreal Engine 5
Yeah.
MetaHuman.
I think
I
so.
think that's what they're using for the faces, or his own you know, modification of that type of software or something. But
There
yeah,
are some other games, like from other companies too, like EA. They have the Black Panther game that I always saw as like a logo. There's also that Iron Man game I think they were working on. Then there was the Captain America Black Panther game from like Sky Breeze or whatever the fuck it was. So like, there's a few other games.
Skydance, yeah.
Skydance, yeah. So there's
There
a lot
could-
of other kind of games that we haven't
IO
seen.
Interactive's Bond game show up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man,
that Black Panther game with Captain America looked sick. So
yeah, that
Yeah.
actually got Pong excited for something superheroes.
Yeah. I'm excited to see updates on that for sure.
Oh, and speaking of going back to the Transformers thing, there's the Transformers Reactivate or whatever it was called, or
Yeah.
Reactor.
Yeah.
Reactivated.
We haven't seen
yeah.
we haven't seen anything on that really, just leaks.
Well, bound to have some good stuff, right? That's why, I mean, we all tune in really at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The Xbox is going to
Oh
show
yeah, the fucking
something.
awards
They
this
do
year are
almost
like
everything.
fucking pointless.
Yeah, trash. They're really trash. Oh my gosh, it's not worse than that last year though. Last year was, I think, a little bit worse, but this year,
I don't
mean,
know.
they're consistent
I
with it.
think
At
this
least.
year's pretty bad.
Nah, I'm still against this whole DLC being up for game of the year. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
get
pretty
it
bad.
that yes, it's a game you can play, but you can't play it independent of the original game, which won the game of the year last year. If it's not a repackage or a resell as a complete game, I can't consider it game of the year when part of it is the game of the year from last year. That it's like,
Yeah.
let's give the game of the car of the year for 2025 to the winner of the 2024 because they changed the tires to Michelin. Like, get the F out of here with
Yeah,
that.
they got 2025 tires on it. It
Yeah.
counts.
No, that's the level of silliness.
That and also like I don't know why every fucking year we have to have Final Fantasy on the nominations. Like they're not all that great. Stop putting fucking Final Fantasy on the goddamn game.
Or putting a game that's been in there for a year for ongoing. Like it's ongoing. It just came out. Wow. There's a lot of problems with it. I'm not saying there's not.
Hey,
But
maybe the ongoing timeline is based off of Concord. Anything long with
if it
Concord is
lasts-
an ongoing game.
If it lasts longer than 2 weeks, yeah.
ongoing.
Wow. Look at this longevity of this multiplayer game. People have been playing this one for months. We got to make sure we really give them credit where it's due. All the support for months on this game. Then you see like Fortnite and these other games out there like, hey,
Categories are broken.
Hey, it's Sony.
Thieves have been out there for how long now? Like, I mean, oh geez. Like I there's so many games that get slided with that specific category. Partly because I think that's one that games media just doesn't like even.
Yeah.
They don't play these kind of games. They don't. They just play the narratives, guide me through a story type games.
Yeah, and it shows. It shows with which games they put up, and then you look at the jury, and it makes sense. Like you look at like who's voting for the games to be nominated in the first place, and then you look at the library of games they play. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It definitely makes sense.
Yeah, racing games are niche, but platformers apparently aren't niche, even though they sell far less than racing games. Imagine that.
You already knew Astrobot was going to fucking win it, so that's why I don't give a shit.
It's gonna be the astronaut. But we're pretty much watching for the announcements and for our audience, all our people.
Well, we'll have been
Be
playing
fun.
Indiana Jones for 3 days at that point.
Oh yeah,
as
true.
well, because it's coming out 3 days before. We'll be doing a co-stream as always for the Game Awards here on Fun Speculation, and we'll be going live probably for that one like a good hour or so before they start, so we can all hang out, make predictions, talk about how bad the nominees are, and all that kind of stuff again before the show actually starts, and roll into the actual stream, and that's going to be on a Thursday. So it'll be kind of in place of PM and the PM. But yeah, obviously anybody in the Fun Spec fam here, our usual crew is invited. So we'll see who's able to make it that day.
We'll see what I end up doing because that's the same day. The Game Awards is
It's
the
your
same day as my
birthday.
birthday. Yeah,
It's
so-
also Psycho's
and Psycho.
birthday.
Yep. and
Yeah.
Psycho. So we'll see what we end up doing, but would love to join you guys if I'm not doing anything crazy.
You
If
can
the
just make your
chat-
birthday list to watch the Game Awards.
True.
If the chat isn't aware, Psychonauts and 3-Bit are actually twins that were separated at birth.
We look exactly alike.
Yeah.
20 years apart, though.
Yeah.
No.
Somehow. It just
Just-
took a while.
Just Psycho's led a rougher life. he just looks
I told him to
different.
go first. And yeah.
Psycho looks like the dad. 3-Bit looks like the mom, I think.
I'll take it.
Anyway.
But yeah, it'll be the same day. So we'll see. But I would love to drop by if I can.
Yeah, we co-stream these things every year, Sea Lord of Bravos, and we have a blast doing it because we just have fun watching the shows and talk to the chat and react to the announcements, right? But anyway, I hope you all had a fun time tonight on FSP, and we'll see everybody back here not Thursday because it's Thanksgiving, so we won't have PM in the PM this week. I think we're still having Xbox Ultimate, but I gotta figure out what everybody's doing that day, see who else are gonna be able to make it and not. So stay tuned for news about Xbox Ultimate this week. I know we didn't have one last week, my bad. Try to make it up with the Mavcast on Sunday, but hoping we can have one Friday, but we'll find out. 3-Bit. thanks for being here, and good job in your poker face, not letting anything leak for the Game Awards. Tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Everyone can find me on the Skies of the Blues as i3bit. That's where I'm pretty much posting everything now. And then Pixelated Echoes on Sunday. We took a break from last Sunday. We honestly holidays, so we might take another one. We'll just see what ends up happening, but we'll be back right after Thanksgiving
There was
and
a
all these
holiday last week?
No, last week. I'm just talking about this upcoming. It's upcoming Sunday. We're in December and whatever. December 1st. There, we'll see if we end up having that show. But if not, check out us for Pixelated Echoes on Blue Sky, and then my account 3-bit on Blue Sky, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of FSP. So bye.
Appreciate you. And Jasper made the return today from space, joining us.
Yeah.
Space with shitty internet. Thanks for being here, bro. I appreciate you.
Yeah. You can find me by just looking up. I'll be up there. Just
Wave to the stars.
yeah.
You can't like hack Starlink for yourself or something, Jasper. Like just do yourself a solid.
Well, see, I was thinking about getting a Starlink just so I wouldn't have to wait, but then I'm like, actually, I don't know if I can have it on this base. So I was like, probably shouldn't do that, and then have random people knocking on my door. So I avoided that, and then I just gotta wait. Just gotta wait it out. Once I get good internet, I can be more consistent with the shows. But that's not until January. Until then, I'm around places. I see everything.
he's up there. He's around.
Let's pick somebody random in the chat, Jasper. You can tell me what they're doing right now. Cyber Gunter. What's Cyber Gunter doing at his house right now?
Hold on, let me check. Oh, I prefer not to say.
Okay, fair enough. We don't want to.
He's got the Xbox handy.
Right. He's got it early. He's got the prototype. He's got the prototype. Right on. Congrats, Cyber. I'm jealous. And Fuzzy Belvedere. Thanks for being here as always, bro. And tell everybody where they can find your rambles and rants.
It was awesome being on here with you guys. Love being on here with you, Mav, as well as you 3-bit. It's always great when we have Jasper back with us. Hey, just if you can, whenever you can, some pics of the space station, whatever, or outside the space station if possible. Just
take pictures of the documents.
No, but in all seriousness, it was awesome being on here with you guys tonight. Love interacting with everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for coming out. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Greatly appreciate it. And for those who want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me primarily on Blue Sky, but I'm still on Twitter or X or whatever it's going to be called for however long. But you can find me pretty much on any social media platform other than Facebook because reasons. And just look for Fuzzy_Belvedere or just Fuzzy Belvedere, all one word. You'll be able to find me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Xbox Ultimate Friday. If we don't get too much gaming news, we can do storytell time of what I used to do for Black Friday previous years. Got some interesting stories. So yeah.
Right on. Thanks, Fuzz. Appreciate you. Everybody in chat, you rock. Thanks for being here, and I hope you have a great one. We will see you again, like I said, on Friday. Audio listeners, hey, if you like the content, leave a review on your favorite audio platform as well. It greatly helps people find us. Like, share, subscribe here in the chat. It greatly helps people find us. I should have said that way earlier, so it actually helps make a difference. But oh well, I always forget. I'm saying it now, but I hope you have a good one. Peace out. Take it easy. Somebody just dropped something. Bye.
No, I did.
Cyber. It was Cyber. Oh, yeah.